Hi first grade, it's Miss Martin here. Today we are doing chapter 10, lesson 1, and today we're learning about cubes and prisms. So before we get started, I want us to go ahead and first just kind of learn what a cube is and then also learn what a prism is. So I need you to go get your vocabulary notebook or your little vocabulary book that you should have did yesterday. You need to cut them out and make sure that they're all in order by lesson. So the first word that if you don't have this done, pause the video, get it done, and then hit play once you're ready to go. Okay, so if you already have this done, good job for you. So our word that we're going to look at first is called a cube. And a cube is doesn't want to work. A cube is a three-dimensional shape with 6 square faces. So last week we were learning about two-dimensional shapes. And two-dimensional shapes are shapes that are flat, that there's only one side of them and they're flat. Three-dimensional shapes are actually something that we can hold. So for example, this is an example of a cube. Forget this on the side. This is an example of a cube because it's something that I can hold and it has different sides on it. So this is an example of a cube. Okay, let's switch. Now let's learn about a rectangular prism, because that's another word that we're looking at today. And that is a three-dimensional shape with 6 faces that are rectangles. So a prism is a lot like a cube, except for it is a rectangle, and its shapes are, all of its sides and faces are rectangles, where on our cube, all of them were squares. So you see how this eraser right here has all rectangle faces. And this cube has all square faces. Besides this one that's a little crazy. So that's what, they all have those. Now we also need to learn about what faces mean. So a face, oh my goodness, hold on. Miss Martin needs to staple this again because this is just being too crazy for me. There we go. Okay, back to it. A face, not your face, I know that seems like it, but a face on a shape is the flat part of a three-dimensional shape. So this right here, this is a face of this shape. This is a face. This is a face of a shape. This is a face of it. This is a face of it. And so is this. These are all faces to the shape, just like how this is a face, this is a face, this is a face. All of these are faces to different shapes. And then lastly, we're going to look at three-dimensional shape. And a three-dimensional shape is a solid shape, a shape that is not flat. So like I just said, two-dimensional shapes are flat, and three-dimensional shapes are not flat. So three-dimensional shapes are some things that you can hold, something that you can see and you can feel, when two-dimensional shapes are most likely something that you would draw. You can't necessarily hold it and touch it and feel it because it's two-dimensional. Okay, so first, we're going to go ahead and I want you to get another piece of paper, a practice piece of paper, not your math worksheet, just something else that you can write on. So pause the video, and once you have that, go ahead and hit play. Okay, so now you have that. I want you to go ahead and we're going to practice drawing some cubes and some prisms. They're a little bit tricky to draw, and it's okay if it looks a little messy because we're just practicing. So one way that you can start by drawing, I'm going to bring up my reference here so I can teach you how to do it. So one way, we're going to draw a cube first. So I want you to put cube at the top so you know that we are drawing a cube. In a cube, at first you just start with drawing a square, just like this. If you were in class, I would have you guys do this on your whiteboard, but we're not, so I'm just having you do it. I'm going to do it on my whiteboard. Then what you do is you're going to draw lines kind of going diagonal, and then in here you're going to draw some dotted lines kind of going inside. You're going to draw a dotted line. So you should have like this weird looking table. It kind of looks like a table. Then we're going to connect these sides just like that. Then I'm going to draw another dotted line to connect those, and then another dotted line to connect that. Do you see how I drew my cube? Okay, if you're still confused, I'm going to go through it again. Let me move Ziggy up a little bit. Okay, so first step first, I'm going to draw my square. So draw your square. Okay. Then I'm going to draw 2 lines, diagonal lines on the very top. And then 1 on the bottom, like that. So it kind of looks like a table that's on its side. Then I'm going to draw a dotted line, just like that, inside of my square. Okay, after I've done all that, if I'm going too fast, pause it and catch up. Or pause it so you can catch up. Now I'm going to connect all of my lines on the outside, just like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw my dotted line to connect from inside, and then connect my other dotted line like that. Now I have my cube. And my cubes have 6 faces. So if I was to count each one of these faces, I would have 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 all the way back here, 5 here, and then 6 way down here. I know it's really hard to see. I need to get a better cube because this cube doesn't really work that well. I will find a different cube here in a minute. And it has 8 vertices. And we know that vertices also means points. So I'm going to put points down here. 8 vertices / points. So if I count it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then back here I have 8. Okay, so now that we have this was just practice. You can keep practicing your cubes after this. But now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to draw a prism. A prism, a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism is a really long word. Rectangular prism. So sometimes we just like to say prism. Now sometimes people get confused, and Miss Martin I get confused sometimes, and I say prison instead of prism. Not prison, prism. It has a at the end. Say it with me. Prism. Okay, and drawing a prism is just like drawing a cube. So first what you do is you start by drawing a rectangle instead of a cube. And then we start with our fancy legs going out, but this time, instead of going this way, we're going to go the other way. So we're going to do a fancy little woo this way, just like that. And then actually, I need to move this over. Okay, woo, redo. We go this way, and this way, and this way. So just like that, we have another long table on its side. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and draw my dotted line, just like that. Now I'm going to connect all of my legs on the outside together. So I should have something that looks like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my dotted line all the way down. So I have it, so it kind of looks like I have 2 different sides. Now I'm going to draw my dotted line all the way to the other side. So now I have my rectangular prism, or just my prism. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a little bit slower this time. Okay. So first we need to draw a rectangle. Draw a rectangle. Then we're going to go ahead and draw our legs going out. Gotta draw our legs. Then we're going to go ahead and draw our dotted lines. So my dotted line going back for my other leg. Then I'm going to do my dotted line going down so I can connect my legs. Then I'm going to connect my legs on the outside. Ooh, that line got a little crazy on me. And then I'm going to draw one big long dotted line down here to connect my sides, just like that. And a prism, a rectangular prism, has 6 faces and 8 vertices. So let's count our faces. We have 1 face here, 2 faces on the back, 3 faces right in front, 4 faces on the bottom, 5 face on the side, and 6 face right here. It's really hard to see. So, face 1, face 2, face 3, face 4, face 5, and face 6. And it has 8 vertices. Okay, I didn't get another color last time, but I'll get one this time. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 points or vertices and 6 faces. So a cube and a rectangular prism have the same number of faces and the same number of vertices or points. So when they're asking you how many faces does a cube have and how many faces does a vertex have, or blah blah blah, how many faces does a cube have and how many faces that a rectangular prism have, you should know, oh my goodness, they have the same number of faces. And then when they ask you how many vertices they have, you should say, oh my goodness, they have the same amount. So a cube and a prism have 6 faces, and a cube and a prism have 8 vertices. So that's what I want you to keep thinking. I want to hear my voice in your head saying a cube and a prism have 6 faces, and a cube and a prism have 8 vertices. Okay, let's get started on our worksheet because we only got a couple minutes left before we got to get going. So erase all of that. We're done with this for now. Bring this back. Okay, let's look at number 1. We just did all of this on the whiteboard, so you don't need to do this. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. On this side, I want you to practice drawing some cubes and some rectangular prisms on here. So you can do this later on, but I just want you to practice. Or if you really don't want to do that, you can just put watch Miss Martin's video on here. And oh my goodness, Miss Martin forgot to put her name at the top. I am slacking today. Okay, so you can put watch Miss Martin's video, or you can draw some other shapes on here, like some prisms and cubes on here as well. Completely up to you. Okay, here we go, friends. So number 1, they want us to really look at the shape, and then they want us to identify the shape. So we have to look at this fancy shape right here, and they want us to decide if it is a cube or if it is a rectangular prism. Then they want us to write the number of faces and the number of vertices. But friends, do not worry, because we know a cube and a prism have 6 faces, and a cube and a prism have 8 vertices. So we know they have the same number. So it doesn't matter what side or say blah 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 blah. Oh my goodness. Doesn't matter what shape it is. All that matters is that we know how many faces and how many vertices that a rectangular prism and a cube have. And friends, if you cannot remember, which is okay because Miss Martin forgets a lot sometimes too, look at it, it's right here for you. 6 faces, 6 faces, 8 vertices, 8 vertices, just like that. So all you have to do is decide which shape it is. So this could be a little bit tricky, but I think that we are good to go because we are bomb at shapes. Okay, so I have my shape right here, and I'm looking at it, and I just can't decide because I know I have to decide if it's a rectangular prism or a cube. And a rectangular prism, I know, has a rectangle in it. So I need to look and see if this shape has a rectangle in it, because a square will not have a rectangle and a cube won't have a rectangle. So let's look. Oh, okay. I have 2 equal sides right here, and this side is not equal either of those sides. Looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a rectangular prism. And I need to count how many faces I have. So I'm going to number them. I have 1 face right here, 2 up here, 3 behind that, 4 down here, 5 over here, 6 right there. I have 6 faces on my rectangular prism. Now let's count my vertices. I have 1 right here, 2 right here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I got 8 vertices right here. We gotta quickly do cube because we're running out of time. Okay, so here we go. I got this shape right here. That does not look a lot like my rectangular prism, so I know that it is a cube. And I know that my cube has, look up here, 6 faces. And I also know that it has 8 vertices. So boys and girls, that's all they want you to do for this, is to label each one.